Hey guys, welcome to the podcast. Today we are talking about Run Disney. If that sounds like fun, keep on listening. That's what we're doing on the show today.
Welcome to Bliss to Abundance, the podcast for growth-minded travel entrepreneurs.
All right, guys, welcome back. I have three amazing guests and runners today, and travel professionals and travel agency owners who are going to help everyone understand how to maximize the Run Disney events. I watched all of you guys at events recently, and also my brand photographer I was sharing ran three Disney runs 23 weeks pregnant. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is like such a thing. It's such a vibe. So I wanted to do a podcast that's really focused on understanding how you can maximize the Run Disney events for your agency, or if you are considering selling it. But first, let me introduce my guest. Amy, do you want to introduce yourself first? Tell everybody a little bit about your agency. And we don't know how many runs you've done, but you have a lot of medals on your wall, I can see.
Yeah, I'm not sure how many I've run, but thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here and talk about my favorite thing to do in my free time, which is run. And what better place than at Disney, right? My agency is Compass Rose Leisure, and we book Disney and all other places across the globe. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, welcome to the show, Amy. And by the way, guys, if you want to catch this episode on YouTube, I definitely recommend you do that too. That way you can see all the medals that these lovely ladies have in their background, because it is impressive, which brings me to my next guest, Shelly, my friend in Texas.
Thanks for having me. Yes, I am Shelly Campbell, and I am the CEO of Smooth Winds Travel. I got into Run Disney right before COVID hit and did my first one, and then turned into virtual races over COVID. And then, of course, once Run Disney said they were back, I was back at it and am addicted, and just did my first Disneyland. They finally just brought Disneyland back, so I just did that one. So it's an addiction.
I'm starting to understand that. I have lots of questions because I am not a runner, but I want to learn, as I'm sure some of the listeners do today. Catherine, welcome to the show. Tell us a little bit about your agency.
Hi, so my name is Catherine Scrimshire. I am the owner of Wishful Dreams Travel. Um, we primarily do Disney. We are doing a lot more of cruises and all-inclusives right now, kind of branching into that as we grow. We're only about a year old, but I got into Run Disney. Gosh, I had been doing running for about 7 or 8 years, and I got married, and my husband said, I want somebody to do Dopey with me one day. So we did Dopey Challenge in 2018, swore we'd never do it again. And since then, I have done a second Dopey Challenge. I have done um, Wine and Dine twice, and I have done Princess Weekend. I got into Run Disney before Disneyland, or after they stopped doing the races at Disneyland. Didn't get to do it this year. So Springtime Surprise and Disneyland are still on my list of Run Disney to do. So it kind of became an addiction. And actually, Run Disney is what led me to becoming a travel agent and eventually owning my own agency.
Oh, that's amazing. Isn't it fun? I love also learning everybody's like path into the industry. So thank you for sharing all of those names that me as a novice completely do not understand. So it's like you're speaking a different language, and I'm loving it though, because I'm learning. So I would love to hear from you ladies. Explain to the novice person who maybe wants to promote or sell, but they're not a runner themselves. What are the basics that I need to know about Run Disney?
Yes, you need to know when registrations happen.
Good.
And if you're a Disney travel agent listening to this, you know how promotions go when Disney releases a promotion. A Run Disney registration is kind of similar. You got to get in there and jump on it, and they can sell out within, 15, 30 minutes, some of the divisions of Run Disney races. So you have to be up and ready to hit that button as soon as they come open.
That is good to know. So what is I'm assuming there's a cost to register. Walk me through that, how that process works.
One of the other ones.
Yeah, Catherine.
So it's, very similar to Disney in general. Disney has a Run Disney website. Um, let's see, I believe the Disneyland Halloween runs are actually, they just had their registration about a week or two ago, and Wine and Dine is actually getting ready to happen, I believe, later this month. Some of the Club Run Disney members have actually started getting their registration availability this week. You're going to go through the process. You need to know going into it what your plan is. What races do you want to get? For marathon weekend, you've got several different challenges. You've got the Goofy Challenge and the Dopey Challenge that are available to you that are multi-race events. For the other race weekends, you typically have a challenge that is a 10K and a half marathon, with the exception of Springtime Surprise. They have a 5K, a 10K, and a 10 miler that still total the 19.3 miles that all the other challenges are. So that's the biggest thing. Going into Run Disney, you need to know the date that it opens up. Especially if it's an anniversary year, you need to be prepared because the anniversary years are guaranteed to sell out in record time every single time. And you need to know what races you're going to want to do, anywhere from a 5K to a full marathon, depending upon the weekend. And the other thing to know about Run Disney is enjoy it. It's registration to me is the most stressful part of Run Disney. Once you get past registration and you can get in there, there is, and you mentioned cost. There is a cost associated with it. Um, they're not economical, but you do get a lot. You do get a lot of enjoyment out of these races. When else are you going to get to stop and meet characters during a race? I've ridden a roller coaster during a marathon. You're not going to get to do that anywhere else. So these are once in a lifetime, twice in a lifetime when you come back to Dopey again experiences that you're not going to get anywhere else. And definitely have a travel agent in your pocket because they're going to know things about the registration dates, the best resorts to stay in, getting to and from the start lines. Not They don't all start at the same place. They've moved start lines around some, so you know how to get around and how to get around. Maybe you're not running the half marathon. You ran races earlier in the weekend. And what parks do I need to avoid on certain race days that may be a little difficult to navigate because of the crowds that are on the roads?
Yeah, good advice. So, Catherine, what are the ranges price wise that someone can expect to spend when they register for a race?
Gosh, from a single race, you're going to be spending somewhere in about the $180 to $200 range. And Dopey Challenge, which is going to be a 5K, a 10K, a half marathon, and a full marathon, depending upon the year, the prices do increase every year. You're probably going to be looking at somewhere around in that $700 range for that challenge. Now, when you do the challenges, you're going to get your medals for the races that you run. You're also going to get a challenge medal. So you're going to get additional medals depending upon your challenge. You're also going to get the additional shirt. So, us runners,
Really
we
no,
like to blink.
really no more than I would spend at a day at Disney Springs. So it's
Exactly.
So, Amy, I would love to pick your brain next because I've seen the whole like the costume thing is a vibe. That is the one thing. I was just in the park accidentally one day in Epcot when this was right before COVID. It's right before everything happened. And they were just running by and I just stopped and got all this footage. I was like, what is the, because I've never was kind of close up on Run Disney. So talk to us about, how the whole costume thing works.
Oh my goodness, that is so fun. So it's really what got me interested in the races to begin with. I saw where you would wear a tutu and run through the castle. And so I was like, I have to do that. And so, too, I think that's why I love Princess so much, is because I get to dress up like a princess and wear a tutu. So I piece together all my costumes. I usually make my shirts and sometimes I make my tutus, but yeah, you can dress up in costume. There's even men that dress up in costume as princesses or whatever the theme may be. So it's just a lot of fun. And what I like to do now, each medal has a different princess on it for the princess races, and so I like to dress as that princess that's going to be on the medal that I'll get when I cross the finish line. So that's always fun. So I spend the whole year preparing my costumes. So you'll see all different types of characters.
I love that. Yeah, and I didn't even realize like there were different like themes, but now that makes total sense. So I'm not I'm new here. Thank you for having me on the show today. But Shelly, I want to ask you the next question because you shared. I was like, can you walk the race? How fast do you have to run? Because I know sometimes there's like you have to qualify or whatever. Shelly, talk to us about kind of the minimums for people like me that would have to work up to whatever the minimums are, I'm sure.
Yeah, what's really great, Run Disney, everybody's so wonderful. The best way, if you ever want to just kind of get your foot in and kind of get started, is do a 5K. The 5K is really easy. It's not timed. Tons of people just walk it. It's basically a walk through Epcot with some wonderful
Yeah.
characters there. Um, Now you do have to get up kind of early. So for a Run Disney race, you're usually up about 2:30ish. You're on the bus. You have to be in this kind of starting area fairly early, and the races do start at 5 a.m. because we do have to get through before the parks open. But definitely start with a 5K, walk it, enjoy it, have some fun, grab some girls. Great way to get experience into it. Then if you want to move into the 10K, which is 6 mile, 6-ish miles for those that don't know, and a 5K is 3 miles. As long as you keep a 16-minute mile, you stay ahead of the what is it? What's the word I'm looking for? Well, the balloon ladies, but what is you know, the balloon ladies, as long as you stay ahead of them and you don't get swept, I'm not a runner. I'm not going to go run nonstop. I do intervals. So you can definitely do anything you want to get through, a minute run, a minute walk, whatever, that you can do it that's comfortable for you and however you train for it's the best way. But yeah, keep that 16-minute mile and stay ahead of those balloon ladies. You're good to go.
That's good advice. So what happens if someone falls behind the blue ladies? They just like come scoop them up and throw them out of the park. You guys
Yeah,
are
you
like,
get
yes, they're all.
sweat. You get there's many people that don't want to give up their race, and maybe they just had knee surgery, or they just, people, it's a
It's probably sad.
it's a cult. But yes, you do get swept if you have an injury or you're just falling behind. You get swept. You get taken to a bus that takes you to the finish line. You do still get your medal. But yes, it's not terrible there. But yes, you get
They,
swept.
they handle they handle it Disney style, like very discreet.
Yes.
Sure, like where you're just gonna take the bus to the front of the line. I love that. This is insider information. I don't think you can get anywhere else. This is really good to know, especially for people that are intimidated or like they've seen it. It seems like it's fun. Like Amy mentioned before the show, you said you weren't even a runner before this. Talk to us a little bit about your whole journey and how that happened.
Yeah, so in 2012, I was looking for something. I wanted to set a goal. My husband was deployed, and I was just trying to keep myself busy. And I needed something that I could do with my toddler because he was 2. So
Mhm.
I saw where you could wear a tutu, run through the castle, and I thought that looked like fun, and it would keep me active. And I could put him in a run stroller, and we could just train together. And
Mhm.
so that's what I did. And I just ran every day, and I was able to run out those emotions that you have when your spouse is deployed. And me and my toddler did it together. And then, just to wrap that little story up, when I was crossing the finish line that first year, my husband, I don't know how he made it happen, but he timed it just right and called from Afghanistan as I crossed the finish line, and they were putting the medal around my neck. It was like a movie. But I think about that every moment I cross that finish line at Princess. And so that finish line has a lot of memories attached to it. But I also, in my research of trying to figure out how to become a runner, I came across Jeff Galloway, who is actually the official spokesperson or official training consultant for Run Disney. And he teaches the run, walk, run method. And
Oh.
so that's what a lot of us runners with Run Disney use. Um, and so, yeah, it teaches you to run, walk, run, and it's a proven method, and it helps you get across the finish line.
I love that. These are such good tips. I love this. I hope every novice that's thinking about Run Disney watches or listens to this podcast or watches it on YouTube. Take your pick. So let's talk now. Let's switch and pivot a little bit and talk about you guys are all travel agency owners. So I get this question a lot in our Wanderlust campus. Our new students will say, "Can I promote Run Disney? Should I promote Run Disney?" And you actually can. Now you can't make commission off the actual races, but how do you guys recommend promoting it and kind of in your businesses so you can get some additional business for the consumer that wants to do Run Disney, but they still can benefit from using a travel advisor? Catherine, what are your thoughts on that?
I think, especially being somewhat experienced with Run Disney, that's something that not every travel agent can bring to the table.
Mhm.
So, I bring the experience of Run Disney. I've stayed in multiple different resorts while I've been on Disney property for Run Disney events. I've had clients stay at different properties. I think that's the biggest thing that you bring to the table is your experience with the races. How are you going to navigate the weekend? It's not your typical race weekend. I've gone on many runcations with some of my girlfriends, and Disney is definitely a different experience from those. And we had a group of new Run Disney runners that I went with back for Wine and Dine last um, November, and that was the thing. They're like, we would have never made it through this weekend without somebody helping us.
Hmm.
Knowing where to be, how to get there. Some stayed off property, some stayed on property. There's so many moving parts to Disney to begin with. I mean, I think we can all admit Disney has so many moving parts, and you're going to add something so unique. So that's what I typically leverage is the experience with Run Disney as well as just the experience with Disney in general. And you've got to really promote that I can help you with your Disney planning, but I can also help you with your Run Disney planning.
Navigating.
And like I said, navigating the weekend, when do you really need to be on the bus to get there? Yes, you do need to be there 4 o'clock in the morning. Something new that they implemented that not everybody knew at Wine and Dine was they started closing the corrals because of some incidents that had happened to previous races. So you may have had a corral assignment, but if you weren't there by a certain time, you didn't get into your corral and you had to start further back in the pack.
Mm.
So, make sure you, as a consumer, you've got somebody that's knowledgeable of the product. And as an owner, no, we can't make commission and Run Disney, but hearing from my clients after they have that, especially that first Run Disney experience, sometimes that's commission enough, to hear and to hear the joy and, oh my goodness, I want to go do this again. So it becomes addictive for us as well as for our clients. And just use that expertise and that knowledge that you gain through experiencing the events to
Right.
promote how fun it is, how enjoyable it is, and what you're going to gain from it as a consumer. You walk away from it. Sometimes it's your first 10K, sometimes it's your first 5K, sometimes it's your first marathon, and your client leaves there going, I did this.
Yep. And when you're using an agency or an agent, you're getting the extra magic included in that whole process and just making it easier. Shelley, what are some of your tips for, newer agents who are thinking about promoting it or wanting to book it? Or what are some tidbits or tips and tricks you can give them about navigating a trip for a client successfully?
Wow. That has never done a Run Disney race to figure out how to book it. Is that kind of what you're?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Definitely do your research. Scour kind of the Run Disney website. Look what there is a Run Disney uh kind of Facebook group. Again, you just really I always say don't always go by the Facebook groups. Always go what you find on, the Run Disney website so you have that accurate information there. Um, Knowing kind of your dates, when registration happens, when are things going, just always really keeping up to date there is kind of my best. Of course, firsthand knowledge is the best, so go try a 5K.
Yeah, and
and
I
experience.
love it's exactly what I would say. It's because if I were going to
Yeah,
sell it, which I'm not,
yeah.
but if I were going to sell it, you guys almost have me talked into trying the 5K. I may do that just because I get to dress up. But if I were going to sell it as a new agent, I would do the 5K to go through the process, because then you can really build on that, and maybe you'll do more personally or not, but at least you'll know, like Catherine said, how to navigate a
Yeah.
race day, right? Or a race week,
What's
what they pick.
one thing too that I want to throw out there too is Disney has also started. Maybe you're not a runner. Maybe you're into yoga.
Oh,
Disney has
really?
started. It's just say the races are usually like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's a three races. But now on Thursday mornings before the park opens, you can go to yoga in front of the castle at
I'm there
4
for
a.m.
that. I'm here for the yoga.
So that's something else too that Run Disney has added. That's a nice little touch in there too. So yeah, I would definitely say just go experience one 5K, see what it's all about, and you probably will get addicted.
Makes sense. Amy, I have a question for you. How far in advance can you register for races?
Well, they set a date and you have to register that date. So back in the day, you had it like a time frame and the price would just go up over time. But now these races are so popular that you need to be signed in, logged into Run Disney and sign up on that day. And for instance, I just signed up for the Disneyland Halloween half because I want to get my coast to coast because that's a thing. I've only done it once. So if you run say a half marathon in Florida and a half marathon in California, same year, you get a coast to coast medal. So that's my goal this year in
Oh,
September to get the coast to coast.
they get you with those medals because you just want that. It's like the whole Girl Scout thing, right? Like I got to get the next award. I love that. It's so good.
Yes. And so while I was trying to register for that half, you could see it was telling me when things were selling out as I'm sitting there waiting to get in to purchase my half. Everything was selling out right then. I mean, within minutes. So
So
you have to do it that way.
as someone who would be promoting an event, then you would really have to be in the know on obviously when people are going to register, but also you need to make sure they get their registration, I assume, before they're going to book the trip. So I would, if I were consulting with someone and kind of building a marketing plan, would it make sense to say make your promotion schedule the week or two around when you just registered for the race? Because obviously they're gonna be, that's gonna be top of mind for them. They're gonna be ready to book. Does that make sense logistically from you guys' perspective? Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
good. That makes sense. I always like, me, my brain goes right to marketing as far as like, let's build the thing and back it up. But that's going to be very dependent. So when do they release when the registrations will be? So if I'm planning for 2025 and I want to promote Run Disney at my agency, or if I'm an agent, when do I know when these dates are? Or do they just release them kind of
It's
willy-nilly?
usually about a month or two before, because I'm trying to think. Wine and Dine is this November, the first week of November, Halloween, and we are registering next week for that, I believe. And we've known probably about a month or two. I think they also, am I okay? Y'all ladies are gonna have to remind me if they just released the medals for springtime or did they release the medals? So that's another thing. You
So
know
it
how Disney
potentially though is
people,
about, it could be about a 6-month lead time. So it's
yeah.
spring now when we're recording this podcast. You guys are just now starting to register for the fall event. So it's really about a 6-month lead time is
Yeah.
what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
But when do the dates for the races come out?
The dates are usually around the same time for each race, just depending. So like Princess is usually the end of February. Wine and Dine is usually the beginning of November. So you kind of know when the dates might be. And then they will release the date of when registration will open. So that's really the date that you need as far as, signing up.
Now, most important question of the day is, you guys keep mentioning this wine and dine. Do I get to wine and dine while I'm running the race? Is that a thing? Or you got to wait till afterwards, I'm assuming.
There are some people, and they really enjoy that last mile in Epcot because you finish Wine and Dine. Most Run Disney races will finish with a loop around Epcot, and a lot of people they enjoy their stops. That's one thing about Run Disney is as long as you are within your time frame,
You do whatever you
um,
want.
you
Yeah.
can stop for characters, you can stop for rides, you can stop for beverages, you can stop for snacks, whatever you might want to do.
I love that. That's so great. Well, ladies, I want to thank you so much for just shedding some light on how Run Disney works, especially for our new generation of travel advisors out there that maybe they love to run, maybe they want to just learn more about it, but I think you guys have shared some really great advice and tips, and I want to encourage everyone, go follow Amy, Shelley, and Catherine. We will put their information down below so you can follow their Instagrams and all the places so you can see that they're out there doing their thing. And if you, again, want to watch the show over on YouTube, definitely check that out because you can see actually some of the fun medals. I mean, it is very impressive. Catherine, we're going to have to get you next time to bring your medal. Or wear them. Just wear them all on
Yes.
one day. I feel like
I
that
got
would
off
be
of a
fun.
cruise yesterday, so I am still kind of in recovery mode.
I know, the life of travel advisors, right? But
We have to show you something special
Yeah.
about these though too. A lot of these,
Sure.
well, that one opens.
Oh my gosh,
They
that's amazing.
a lot move and they have moving parts, so they're really
I
fun.
have seen that on Instagram. They are beautiful. It's not just like getting a little circle medal. It's like it's a whole thing. So yeah, that's why people, if I think if you're new to it too, like go follow some people that are in that community already and learn about it. And I mean, I think you guys have me talked into maybe doing the 5K. So we'll see how that goes. We will see. All right, guys. Thanks for being on the show today. And everybody else, we will see you guys next week. Have a great week, everybody. If you like that last video, make sure you check out all the content available to you on our channel. And I invite you to follow along, travel with me around the world as I grow and scale my travel businesses. You're going to pick up some great tips, some great tricks on how you can grow your own travel brand too. I'm going to drop some links down below, and also check out these videos I handpicked just for you.